Back to the auto shop during my sister's supposed work hours and found her hiding spot in the employee bathroom. She had stashed the burner phone inside the toilet tank and was using it to communicate with both David and Melissa. He found messages where she was now telling Melissa she needed money for a lawyer to get a restraining order against our family. She claimed we had threatened to kill her if she tried to leave. Melissa had already given her over $2,000, believing she was helping a young woman escape a dangerous situation. My sister was using the money to buy designer clothes and makeup, stashing them at Melissa's apartment. She had created an entire fake life, even making up stories about job interviews she was going on and apartments she was looking at. David was still sending money too, thinking he was helping his girlfriend get back on her feet after escaping her abusive family. My parents finally had enough evidence to confront Melissa directly. They drove to her apartment with my sister's birth certificate, school ID, and recent report cards. When Melissa opened the door, she tried to close it in their faces, but my mom stuck her foot in the doorway. They showed her all the documents proving my sister was only 15 years old. Melissa's face went white as she realized she had been harboring a runaway minor and potentially interfering with custody. She immediately let them in and called for my sister to come out of the bedroom. My sister emerged wearing designer clothes Melissa had bought her, looking like she was ready for a business meeting. When she saw our parents, she tried to run, but my dad blocked the exit. Melissa was shaking as she processed that everything my sister had told her was a lie. She kept saying, but she said she was 24, over and over while staring at the birth certificate. My sister tried one last manipulation, crying and telling Melissa that the documents were fake and our parents were trying to control her. But Melissa had already seen too much evidence and kicked my sister out immediately. She called David right there in front of everyone and explained the situation. David was horrified to learn he had been enabling a 15-year-old runaway and had potentially committed crimes by sending money to a minor without parental permission. With nowhere left to go, my sister tried running to her friend Ashley's house. She showed up at their door crying hysterically and begging to stay the night. Ashley's mom took one look at her and immediately called our parents. She said she wasn't getting involved in whatever drama was happening, but she wasn't harboring a runaway either. My sister realized she had burned every bridge and had no choice but to come home with our parents. On the drive home, she tried one more manipulation tactic. She started fake crying and claimed she had developed a shopping addiction because of low self-esteem. She said she needed therapy and understanding, not punishment. She even suggested checking herself into a treatment facility for shopping addiction. My parents didn't buy it for a second and told her she was going to face real consequences for her actions. They spent the next week contacting every single man she had scammed with proof of her real age and documentation of her lies. They got written statements from each one detailing how she had deceived them and how much money she had taken. Some of the men were considering pressing charges, but my parents convinced them not to by promising full restitution. They printed out every statement and made my sister read them all to understand the harm she had caused. Then came the part that really made my sister scream. My parents had her calculate the exact total again, $8,600. They withdrew that exact amount from their savings and made her watch as they donated every single cent to an organization that helps teenage girls get education and job training instead of relying on men for money. My sister had to sit there while they completed the donation in her name, knowing that money could have been hers if she had just been honest. This time she had to work at the auto shop for real. Uncle Frank installed security cameras in every corner and checked on her every hour. She wasn't allowed to have any devices and had to be in his direct line of sight at all times. He made her do the dirtiest jobs, changing oil, rotating tires, cleaning engines. She came home every day covered in motor oil and grease, her designer dreams completely shattered. She spent 10 long months working 6 days a week to earn back the $8,600 plus an extra $2,000 for the therapy she actually did need, not for shopping addiction, but to understand why she thought lying and scamming people was acceptable. The therapist made her write apology letters to every person she had deceived, including Melissa and David. She had to detail exactly how she had lied and take full responsibility for her actions. By month 8, my sister was so exhausted from actual hard work that something shifted. She stopped complaining about the job and started taking pride in learning real skills. Uncle Frank taught her basic car maintenance, and she discovered she was actually good at diagnostics. She even helped a customer figure out why their check engine light kept coming on when 3 other mechanics couldn't find the problem. The transformation was slow but real. She deleted all her social media accounts voluntarily, saying she couldn't stand looking at the fake lifestyle content anymore. She asked our parents to help her apply for real colleges and started researching business programs, but not the glamorous MBA programs she used to pretend about. She wanted to study business ethics and sustainable practices. She wrote her college essays about learning the value of honest work and how deceiving others ultimately only deceived herself. When she finally paid off the full amount, Uncle Frank offered her a legitimate part-time job at the shop. She accepted and still works there on weekends, saving money for college the honest way. She even teaches other teenagers basic car maintenance, always starting with the story of how she learned the hard way that luxury built on lies will always come crashing down. My parents frame her first real paycheck stub, earned through honest work, right next to her college acceptance letter. The morning after my parents framed her paycheck stub, my sister walked into the kitchen with a spring in her step I hadn't seen in months. She poured herself orange juice and started talking about a community college automotive technology program she'd discovered. My mom smiled cautiously, while my dad nodded approvingly, both still wary after everything we'd been through. That's when the doorbell rang. Standing on our porch was a woman in her 30s wearing an expensive suit and holding a manila envelope. She introduced herself as Alexandra, a private investigator hired by someone named Benjamin, who claimed my sister had defrauded him of $15,000. My parents' faces drained of color as Alexandra explained that Benjamin had evidence of wire transfers, fake investment documents, and promises promises of business partnerships my sister had made while pretending to be a venture capitalist. My sister dropped her glass, orange juice splattering across the kitchen floor. She swore she didn't know anyone named Benjamin and had never taken that much money from anyone. Alexandra pulled out printed screenshots showing conversations from an encrypted messaging app where someone using my sister's photos had convinced Benjamin to invest in a fake startup. The messages were dated during the time my sister was supposedly working at Uncle Frank's shop. My dad grabbed the papers and studied them carefully. The writing style was different from my sister's usual messages, more sophisticated and business-focused. My sister frantically explained that someone must have stolen her photos and created fake profiles. She begged us to believe her, reminding us how hard she'd worked to change. My mom looked torn between protecting her daughter and fearing we'd been fooled again. Alexandra said Benjamin was prepared to press charges unless he received full restitution within 30 days. She left her business card and warned that this was just a courtesy visit before legal action began. After she left, my sister collapsed on the couch, sobbing that she was being framed. She pulled out her work schedule from Uncle Frank's shop, showing she'd been there during the times those messages were sent. My brother immediately started investigating online. He found multiple profiles using my sister's photos on business networking sites, all created recently. Someone had built an entire fake persona, complete with a fabricated work history and endorsements from other fake profiles. The scammer was actively messaging potential victims, promising huge returns on investments in non-existent companies. My parents called Uncle Frank, who confirmed my sister had been at work during the dates in question. He even pulled security footage showing her changing oil and rotating tires at the exact times those messages were being sent. It became clear someone was using her image to run a sophisticated scam operation, likely because her photos were already associated with fake business profiles from her previous schemes. We tried contacting Benjamin through Alexandra, but she said her client wouldn't speak to us directly until the money was returned. My sister was devastated that her past actions had created this situation. She spent hours trying to get the fake profiles taken down, but new ones kept appearing. The scammer had downloaded all her photos from her deleted social media accounts and was creating new identities faster than we could report them.